Hey everybody, I want to introduce you to our latest sponsor, Salt Electrolytes. Feeling depleted after a tough grappling session? Well, Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs. Salt contains 6 different electrolytes with a touch of iodine to help maintain a healthy thyroid. No sugar, no dyes, no bullshit. Go earn your salt. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the BJJ Foxcast. I am your host, Alex Martinez, and I'm here with my co-host, Alex Tojo Cray.
Howdy.
And we're here with 2 special guests. We got Gustavo Dantas, who's been on the show before, and Heath Flicker. This is your first time.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, guys, let's jump right into it. I want to talk about, well, I've got several things I'd like to talk about, but let's talk about just the tournaments in Arizona. It used to be like we could look forward to 4, right?
Yeah,
4.
no
Now there's one almost every weekend. And how's that working out? Like, do you guys communicate at all with the other promotions or anything like that? Do you guys like try to like separate them?
Yeah, I would say in terms of like regular communications, no. Obviously, we keep our pulse on what's happening in the state.
Yeah.
Both from a kind of competitive perspective. You also have to remember we're both coaches of students as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we do not discourage them from doing other events and getting as many tournament reps in as they can and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of have an idea of what's going on out there. Of course, there's varying quality of promotions that come in state. And so we will, as coaches, discourage them from, or at least set expectations of what they can expect in terms of varying quality.
You hear how political
events,
he's being? He's just like,
I
being
like
nice.
it.
And
I like it.
Just say this organization sucks. Just say it.
There's been a few where I said, as a coach, and then Gustavo's the same way.
Yeah.
Where as a coach, I just refuse to go to that because it's just such a bad experience.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we don't need to name those. I'm sure we all have our
Yeah.
ideas of who fall on that list. But yeah, in terms of like the promotion side of it, I think we keep an eye on of what other organizations do well.
Yeah.
Of course, it's the same community of coaches. So we also get feedback of like, man, this didn't go so good. Like you guys should keep up doing this and, maybe add this or that sort of thing. So that's where other events in state can be valuable. It's just like a best practices sort of thing. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on other organizations and whether or not we communicate. I mean, we don't have any direct. Obviously, the biggest thing is just trying to be cognizant of dates.
Yeah.
Because we had an issue last year where we had an event on the same date, and that really puts the whole community in a precarious situation.
Yeah. It screws both organizations.
Yeah, it's tough because first-time parents, for example, they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have a coach who's trying to say grow a new academy.
Yeah.
And their students, like one of them signed up for this event, one of them signed up for that event. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I can't be at both. Oh, you can't coach
Oh,
me
yeah.
today. It's just, it's tough. I think the community here is big enough to support multiple organizations. But I think we just have to be aware of each other and what we're doing, especially in terms of dates.
Yeah.
Because that's where it can get tough. I think.
Absolutely.
You think there's a kind of like a tournament fatigue? Because I almost like, as we're all coaches, right? It's like, seems like I have to go to a tournament like every other week, to coach.
Yeah, I would say that's more on the coaching side of things.
Yeah.
Competitors, they have the luxury of either doing them or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I really feel is the parents.
Oh, yeah.
Because kids, of course, they want to do every event.
Of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
But these things aren't cheap these days.
Yeah.
And especially, let's say you're a parent, you have 3 young kids that all want to compete, can't say yes to one, no to the other.
Right.
You get registrations and parking and lunch out that day and all that
And
stuff.
the drive out, depending where you live. Yep.
Yeah.
Entrance fees, if grandma wants to come, like that's a big day, and we recognize that. Gustavo and I were just reviewing 2026 and trying to think about what we're going to do for pricing next year, and we're trying to keep it as reasonable as possible for exactly those reasons. But of course, every year prices go up and that sort of thing, so you have to.
Absolutely, yeah. So I actually talked to Gustavo once when maybe the first or second tournament where you guys were at the, where was it, Bell Bank Park before? I think it's Arizona Athletic Grounds now. I was really surprised. pleasantly surprised at how little, if anything, you guys increase your prices. And I'm sure the venue is a little bit more expensive than the college, basketball court that we were using before, basketball arena that we were using before, small college, right? And Westwood High School was another venue, stuff like that. So you guys went from like basically probably started on your mats to a small venue to the high school or college venue, and now you're in a professional venue that's got to cost a lot more, I would imagine. And how did you guys manage? What was the decision-making process where, okay, we should probably increase our prices, but we're not going to encourage more people to compete? What was that decision-making process like?
I feel that is a balance because as being a competitor too, and then you're looking for the best in the competition, but I got to look at the same time as a promoter. Mm-hmm. So it was always a challenge, but we do the best we can to keep like a fair price. Yeah. And absolutely, man, that place right now, they have new owners. Things went up in general. Yeah. You buy the awards. Well, there's a new tariff. There's a new thing. There's like more things. So everything basically is coming up. We do have big overhead referees and all the stuff. We have to bring them out of state. So it's something for us to even share with people about it. They don't know. Just like, hey, just ref here. Yeah. It's a big investment that we do. And it has been over the years, always been we do what we can. We are a small company that's being always focused on the growth of Arizona. So from when we started, I started 2000, first tournament was January 2001. 40 people rent some chairs at the school. And then it took us, for people who are listening right now or just watching, and you go to tournaments and see like, oh, there's 1,000 people or 2,000 people. It took us 4 years to break 100 people.
Wow.
Whoa, really?
Wow.
4 years. And then we had exactly 116 people. And I was like, this is the time to upgrade. Yeah. So we got a small church in Tempe. And that was the one that I called the AZ State, summer 2005. And there was 150 people, 3 different mats, super ghetto. It is what it is. That's what we had. Yeah. Right. So it was a process of little by little, Broader Rec Center, Westwood High, Phoenix College. So being slowly growing and always focused on quality. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Always had the eyes on IBJJF of what they're doing and trying to replicate the best way possible. And whatever works, whatever doesn't work. And we keep making adjustments. At one point, Smooth Comp came around. Because before, that's what people don't realize too. Man, there's one tournament, that was the first time we broke 200 people. I was awake for 36 hours. I finished doing brackets by hand at 6 a.m. and just showered, went to the tournament. You know what I mean? And so there's different times.
Did you tape them on the wall so people had to find that? Yeah,
absolutely. It's old school.
Yeah. We used to do the weigh-ins as mat coordinators. You would weigh in the people yourself. You would take them to the mat yourself, and then you would have to advance the bracket yourself on paper. So you would ask a kid, like you didn't see the match, and you would ask the kid, hey, did you win? Yeah, I won. Didn't win.
Oh, no.
So you'd advance the wrong one and trying to fix that.
Punks.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit. The advancement in technology, because I've been competing with you guys for going on 15 years, and I've just seen there's always something new, right? And I imagine, okay, so day one, first tournament, however many people you had in your academy, what was the scoring like? How did you do the scoring?
It's interesting. I have, over the years, I had to get used to ask for help. In the beginning, I just didn't want to bother people. So that means I was the referee. I was one of the referees. Nathan Ziegler was one referee. Yeah. Chris Lopez was one referee. Had 2 areas. But I would call. There's no scoreboard, of course. You just write the points down. Right. You didn't have such a thing. But and then I'm reffing. I give the awards. I do kind of like the one-man band, just going around as much as I could. Then eventually, mid 2000s, probably 2006 or 7, I found in Brazil a company that did those flip chart, not flip chart, but like
The flip scores, yeah.
the flip scores that IBJJF had. Man, if you're not used to, super confusing. You you're just staring at just a bunch of numbers.
I was going to mention those. I remember those things.
Yeah.
You just look at it like, am I winning? Am I losing? What is that? Am I
think when
200 up?
You're doing math.
I think Paul adopted one of them or two of them when you finally like moved on to like more electronic stuff.
Yeah, so eventually was another one that was some digital scoreboards.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I think the first one to start doing a software in US, as far as I know, is Claudio Franza with the US Open. They just have, I think, a 30-year edition right now. His work always inspired me too. So I was always, he does a great job with his tournaments. And one of their black belts, then she started to develop a program, a software. So I went to his site to see the tournament, and I saw right on the bottom, powered by. I was like, what is this here? And then I click, and I basically, after them, I became the first client.
Oh, wow.
So not even IBJJF had, back then IBJJF, as you get the form, you fill out, we send a check, you know what I mean, to them. There's no online registrations, you know what I mean? Jeez. So that was the first one to that. And then I stayed with her for 10 years. She was incredible. But then got to a point that when Smooth Comp came around with like so many features, and my heart was broken because I love working with her. She was like a rock star, so great. But I told her, like, there's one point in right now, I did all the brackets, not the brackets, but the schedule by hand, just math. Wow. You know, and I became pretty decent at just figuring out, like, but that would take me, it was a full day. And then the first time that I was introduced to autoload, it just like boop. And then
like now I'm done.
Like,
Sweet.
Okay.
What year was that
different.
about when you switched to Smooth Comp?
Maybe 17, 18.
Okay.
Not sure. Maybe
That's still pretty
2000.
recent.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty recent.
Maybe it's 2000. And it took me a while. I had some friends who worked with them, like, dude, I have to check it out. But I really didn't want to stop working with her. Yeah. So that kind of broke my heart that I really, being loyal to her, but there's no way that she was going to catch up.
Yeah.
Right.
With it was so far.
Yeah.
Beyond that, man. And now everyone is, just used to each company have their own platform or whatever, but it's impossible to do without a software. It doesn't happen.
And I think when you start hitting that 100 plus mark, that's when you kind of, because you have your little tribe of competitors, the people that are just so loyal that they'll do any tournament you want. Once you hit that, especially like 150, now you have no choice. Yeah, like you can't be that little. I hate to use the word cult, but you can't be that little group anymore. It's expanded beyond that, and now you need to hire staff, and now you need software tracking and all that stuff. And who is Smooth Comp? Like, how did they approach you? Like, how did that happen?
So I have interviewed one of the owners. It's 5 guys from Sweden.
Okay.
So they're all practitioners. What I appreciate about the mission, man, they have thousands of like events, like every weekend. They probably have, I would say, hundreds.
Outside of jiu-jitsu though, right?
With jiu-jitsu, judo, but like,
if you take off the geography filter on their scheduler, you'll see there's like
crazy,
20 events a weekend.
Wow.
Yeah. What I appreciate on Smooth Comp, at least when he explained to me, because IBJJF started to create their own by necessity. They needed, like, we need to come up with something. So they create, and then what happened with the Smooth Comp, as far as I know, there's like 5 guys, IT guys that train jiu-jitsu, and they were frustrated with the current like systems they had in Europe and stuff like that. So they went more with a desire to build something better the way they want. And I respect that a lot, for the fact that it's not just, I'm just trying to solve a problem.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, man, I'm not happy with this, and we're gonna produce something better. So I got 5 brains working together, different ideas, and then the thing just went like, boom. And it's very interesting. There's a quote of a book that I learned: "Let your irritations inspire you." This is one example of it, and that was why I started promoting tournaments in Arizona in the first place. When I moved here, there's only one person organizing. Didn't really have experience with with tournaments, this person I had promoted twice in Brazil, and I lived in Vegas for close to 2 years. I did a small thing there. So I always enjoyed that. So I went to a competition. It was a disaster. It was, man, from disrespectful to competitors who was watching. It was just a mess. And then 2 months later, whatever, had another one. And I was like, dude, as bad as it was the other one. So like, well, apparently no one's going to do anything. So I just kind of put the hat of like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then start doing just from the desire to, dude, I feel that I can do something better than this. This year is a joke.
Yeah.
And being and that's the thing too, that is important. I feel it's having the balance of, man, sure, I got to think of 50% as a promoter, but 50% as a competitor.
Yeah.
And one of the things that when you look back even to the old tournaments you've been in, Phoenix College and stuff like that, things that like out of stress, I put a list of things that, what do I want when I go to a competition? The first thing that was on my list that I would get super fired up when the school or something didn't take care of it. The first one was like clean bathrooms.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
How many times you've been in the bathroom that you just like, whoa.
Yeah.
So bad.
Dude, you're not touching.
Gross.
You're
Yeah.
like using your feet to raising and flushing. And
Trying to change your gi in there.
Oh my God.
No.
it's awful. So I remember people see the images of the worlds back in Brazil, the Tijuca. They say, oh, the Tijuca, that place is nasty. That bathroom is a disgrace. I can't believe that's supposed to like basketball pro teams play. It's a disaster.
So bad.
So you go to the bathroom, it would be like, dude, I don't want to touch anything. So always made sure like to pay a little more. And then I go, to this day, I still go. I'll go to the bathroom and see there's like too much going on. Just send a message in like, yo, guys, you need to come here to clean up because there's a lot of traffic on and on. So like things like that sometimes people don't take in consideration, So this is just an example of having, respectful medals and, things like that. But as far as the logistics or refereeing that we were talking about too, which is super challenging.
Yeah.
That's something that Heath and I were talking because it's not easy to find referees. Not a lot of people are pumped dude, I can't wait to be a referee.
Nobody wants to do it.
What I would interject there is it's not easy to find quality.
Yeah.
You can find bodies, which is unfortunate that happens sometimes, that people just put bodies in there.
At these organizations that we're not going to name.
Because you put a 6-week training camp in, you got your whole family there.
Yeah.
And you have a purple belt that's competed 3 times reffing a match, and it's just it shows in the types of calls.
Absolutely.
They make, so.
One of the difficulties, I'm a fan of the IBJJF, right? So it's not because we're a fan of an organization who cannot criticize, a way to try to improve. So anyway, so a lot of things that I like, there are a few things that I don't. For example, with the Jiu-Jitsu Con, I cannot even imagine what is the logistics to run a tournament with 50 mats, okay?
Yeah.
3 days.
Dude.
12,000 people.
Spectators.
And then gaps between the mat spaces, right? There's like that walkway and then the other walkway for the con area.
Yeah.
Vendors,
so
everything.
Who am I to talk trash and be like, I run up to 12 official areas.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Could we make more areas? Should, but then it would be smaller. I prefer to have, the traditional one. But now one of the problems that talking with some of the instructors is like, man, that's great, awesome. But now if you have 50 areas, we're talking at least in the best case scenario, you need to have 75 refs.
Mm-hmm. Because they need to take breaks, right?
And this is like
rotate out.
Yep.
1.5, was the great scenario, 2 guys per mat, which is not going to really happen.
Right.
75.
Quality ones.
I'm getting there. So imagine out of the 75, how many are legit?
Yeah.
What's the percentage that did the course the night before? The course.
Yeah.
The night before, be like, all right, you're good to go.
Yeah.
And now the same thing, guys traveling from all over the world.
Yep.
And then don't get me wrong, I understand mistakes. It happens.
Of course.
It's going to happen in all sports, But now you put them in a position that, man, you got all kinds of people screaming, and then you're like
Stress.
and
Huge
some people
stressful
giving
position.
points like this kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know, so you,
Or they stop the match and they're like listening to
Yeah.
the guy
I
watching.
like that a lot, though.
It is.
That they take the time to like, all right, let's double check that.
That's
It
cool.
slows
Except
the action down, but
yeah.
Yes, and that's another topic that has been talked with a lot of like the high level coaches, because at the same time they're saying like, dude, the referee cannot like all the time. Okay, check it.
Yeah.
Check it.
100%. They
You know,
overuse
so
it a little bit. Yeah.
They do, and they don't have. So now they don't have a camera for every
Correct.
match or to be able to analyze everyone. So it kind of pick and choose. So it's a very tough. That's something that people are still kind of talking about, like improvements. The IBJJF can. It's a great. I love it. It's a great
insane.
idea.
Yeah.
It's really good. Now, really figured out how this is going about. Yeah, there's a lot of things to still to work on, but it's a great concept.
That's one of the things that people like to complain about too. Is like the reffing. They're like, oh, IBJJF sucks because of their reffing. And I'm like, what organization has better reffing though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing everything they can to make it good. And I think like as far as going back to Arizona, I don't think there's any question about it. Like AZBJJL stuff always has the best refs.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes, I think there's no better way to increase the user experience for a competitor than having a ref that knows what they're doing, knows how to control the mat. Or, you know, it's like, that's what, when you go to those other organizations and they're trash, it's because they have like, okay, now you're rolling off the mat. ADCC, I'm just throwing that out there. They'll roll out into the hallway, right? Like no one's controlling the area, and, you know, and the calls are kind of half-assed, and I don't know.
And mistakes, absolutely, they will happen.
Yeah.
So just to explain the process, how we go for people, especially here in Arizona, don't really know much how we do it. So most of we have, if we do 12 mats, we have 18 plus a head ref. So out of the 18, usually about 12 come from out of state.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's ready. So here is the process, and any of the referees can jump in on the chat and then write it down true. That means the guy leaves his house and goes to the airport. We cover his Uber or mileage. There's a limit that we cover.
Yeah.
And then we pay for their ticket. So when they go to the hotel that we book, we make sure that we pay for his Uber to the day of the tournament. We have a driver that pick them up, take everyone there. And on the way back, they take him back to the hotel. And the hotel always one that's going to have a shuttle. And so they'd be able to go home. And then we cover the expense from when he arrived to their homes.
Yeah.
Plus they get paid well, especially the guys out of state, because Samir's been with us for over 10 years, and I always talk about it like, man, how can we take care of them? Well, is there anything else that we can do? Is there always, and especially Samir was active ref for a long time.
Yeah.
And he also like, no, so I think it's fair. And if he has a suggestion, say like, let's do it. So we always go over trying to take care of them the best way possible.
Yeah.
You know, for them to have a good experience, because we do the best we can to take care of our staff. So if the staff is happy, they will serve better.
Absolutely.
Then now we'll have sometimes organizations, regardless, that end up kind of dropping the ball a little bit on that. So now the staff is kind of like meh, and reflects on the competitors.
Yeah.
You know, so that's something that we do the best we can, especially with the referees, to take care of them, take care of the best way possible. However, we expect good service too. There's plenty of refs when you have some people who complain or something, and then sometimes people just come to me, hey, Gustavo, take a look at that dude when I have a chance, and then I watch, and then okay, and then if I start having like the same different people just talking with me, and I have situations that are like, Samir, no more, less time.
Yeah.
You can't come anymore.
Wow.
Because they have a group, a pool of like refs that it's a group that we kind of people who can come. But then, there's many people to be like, I don't want this dude here anymore. Being rude with people, I don't want this guy here anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
They're
so-
customers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, we do the best we can. And guys are reffing finals of worlds and whatever, and you have guys that are getting more experience, sure. But here in Arizona, again, we don't have that many people that really interested. Heath and I are talking this week about the possibility, man, how can we maybe produce our own refs here? But we really don't have a lot of interest. Out of 19 refs, 18 are Brazilians.
Right. Yeah.
It's not because I'm protecting the Brazilians. There's no Americans that wanted to do it. You know, like I'd have no problem being 19 Americans. But we really don't have people interested. I think currently the last tournament was that. I think it was one.
Wow. Support at AZBJJL if you're a brown or black belt.
There you go.
I was going to ask you guys.
certified.
So how do you guys generate that pool? Is it from IBJJF certified refs?
Yes, we're also talking about this. At least you have. I would rather just kind of outsource the service that, you know, like, hey, at least you go get the certification, come in with some knowledge, and then we kind of now we're trying to have the same thing. We're trying to develop similar approach of having someone watching and then being ready to be like a possibility to get a chance of someone to get experience, because someone just got their thing, their certificate or whatever. They just sat there for a couple hours. And we're like, okay, go ahead. The dude still needs to get experience somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so it's sort of a trainee. So sometimes you have out of the 18 plus the other, sometimes you have one or two that are trainees. They're getting there.
Yep.
And just try to watch them as close as possible.
We do have a mentoring process for that.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
We'll pair, and this is something we've started fairly recently over the last few years, but we'll pair a junior or newer ref with a more senior person.
I love that. I think it's really cool.
And the senior person just audits his matches for the first number of matches.
Yeah.
And it helps.
Yeah.
And the IBJJF standard thing with them being certified, that helps me on event day, because if I get a coach or a parent that says, that was a bad call, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, they're human. It's possible. Could be.
Yeah.
I'll have you talk to the head ref. But let me explain to you a little bit about the reffing situation. And I explain, like, a lot of these faces that you see on our mats are the same faces you'll see at the finals of the world.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
You know, we're flying these guys in from out of state because they're the most qualified guys we get. So this isn't an afterthought. They're human. They've been out here 9 hours. They could make a mistake, but we do try to set the bar pretty high for the refs for exactly that reason, because if they're going to make a mistake, it's because they made a mistake that day and not because they're not qualified to
Honest mistake.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So, because there are funky situations, as you know, in jiu-jitsu. The problem is, and they even talk about this in when they have those seminars or whatever, the problem is the easy mistake. I was like, wait a minute, he was playing guard, he was on top. What you know, the common sense, jiu-jitsu common sense. Of course, there are situations that even you guys, black belts that watch outside, you're like, remember the referee needs to make that call at that moment. You know what I mean? He's like, I don't know, in a split second, or raise his hand or not. Right. So
I
dodged situations.
I dodged requests for me to be a referee for like 10 years. And when that's the most thing.
I've done it once.
It's so
no, thank you.
So nerve-wracking.
If you do your job correctly for 10 straight hours, nobody really notices. And if you mess up twice in those 10 hours,
you're the shittiest ref
nobody
ever.
Forgets.
Yeah. So I'm doing a workshop for parents of kids that are going to compete in 26. And putting together just, I'm going to bore them with a PowerPoint. I just love PowerPoint. But anyway, but one of the, I'm trying to figure out how to package it better than my brain, without a filter. But basically, I don't want parents talking, like yelling anything at a ref unless they've read the rule book. Because reading the rule book, and it's not that long, right? And there's videos you can watch. Unless you do that, I guess once you do that, it gives you a different perspective on the referees. Because, for example, with the IBJJF's doing a great job now with the black belt certifications. Everything's like online. You don't have to mess around with going to the referee seminar. But they give little video clips to quiz you, and you're like, holy crap! You know what I mean? I watch it and it seems very basic, but then I'm like, is that really an advantage? I mean, point for who? And then, and
not do that real time.
Right.
Yeah.
But now I'm quizzing my students. I'll do the same scenario in class and I'll say, how many points is this and why? And, tell me on Wednesday. And they'll come to me with all these guesses. And I'm like, okay, yes, it is X amount of points, but why? And they can't tell me why. You know what I mean? So I want people to get, a little bit more familiar with the rule set and just understand a little bit better. And if I was refereeing 3 matches, my ADHD brain would be like, oh shit, who's on top? I don't know. There we go.
Especially those lower divisions.
I'll do this and see who yells at me. Let's see which side of the aisle yells at me if we're doing,
Well, one thing that doesn't help too, which I guess part of the deal, is having so many organizational different rules. So now I'll explain this to the parents. Oh, this one you cannot do guillotine. This you can. This you can omoplata. This you can. So that is definitely a
especially
challenge.
with the kids. The kids are so tough.
Yeah, the other thing that's a challenge, you mentioned other organizations, is we have always tried to craft many of our policies around IBJJF for a few different reasons. One, they have the biggest team to think through, policy, from uniform policies to weigh-in policies to weight classes.
For the past 30 years, by the way.
Yeah.
And the second reason is we've Gustavo's always said, and I've carried this on, our tournaments should be leveraged by local coaches to get them ready for the major championships. Their students ready for the major championships.
Oh, yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Should be an analog. Yeah.
if you know what the weigh-in process is, if you know what the uniform requirements are for the local tournaments, you should have no problem when you go to Pans or Worlds.
Absolutely.
Or any of those. Same thing for the kids, especially, new parents, that sort of thing, getting used to the process. But IBJJF, rightly or wrongly, has developed a reputation of being tyrants. It's their way or the highway.
Well, the brand comes first, right? I mean, basically it.
And so we're not the IBJJF. And the one thing that I've tried to thread the needle with a little bit the last 4 or 5 years is keeping those high standards in terms of policies, but also being a customer-friendly organization.
Yeah.
And that's a tough needle to thread sometimes. Because I consider us to have really 3 types of customers. We've got the competitors, and then we've got coaches, because competitors come and go, but I see the same coaches' faces that I've seen for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So if you don't make the experience good for them, you're not going to be their favorite organization.
Yeah. And then all their students go somewhere else.
And then the third customer that we have is the spectators, because the spectators, they decide what event they're going to do next. They decide if they're going to come back to your event. Parents are bringing grandparents from out of town and stuff like that. So it's easy to forget about them, but we try to think about them in terms of the experience as well. So if you keep those 3 things in mind, I think the IBJJF standards help us serve those customers as much as possible. We vary slightly in our policy, so I don't say we're 100% IBJJF, but for the most part, we try to keep it aligned with that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know as a competitor, when I was coming up through the belts, I felt perfectly comfortable that if I was making weight correctly and my uniform was right locally, that I go to Pans and it would be no problem.
Yeah. And everything, as I mentioned, the 30 years, I saw the beginning of the CBJJ and then eventually IBJJF in Brazil, and how they have improved. And that's what I always admired. The first Worlds, there's refs with, jeans, sideways hat, you know what I mean, type of deal. It was. And if you see Pan Ams, just guys, reffing. You see some old footage, guys reffing with gi pants. They just roll like, hey, we need a ref here, and then someone jumps in, type of deal. Wow. It was. That's one of the things that in early 90s, because that was a problem. Jiu-Jitsu tournaments had the fame of always being behind schedule, always being like, man, you're here all day or whatever. I feel like back then, a big problem I had was refs were not paid. It's like, hey, can you help out? Hey, can you jump here? And then pretty soon people are like, dude, no, I don't want to. I don't want to. And then get to a point that are like, okay, we need to start paying these guys for their time and stuff like that, and then start to improve a little bit. And I remember people don't realize sometimes they bash IBJJF. I understand. Again, I have a different perspective because I saw the beginning, and I remember weighing in for a world championship. Just get this, y'all. We're talking about like middle of 90s. Carlos Gracie Jr. would open his house, his backyard. The weigh-ins were in the backyard of his house. That's what people don't understand. Brazilian Nationals, Worlds, like many things that was coming up before that. Yeah. So just imagine here, just block the street and like, dude, where are these people coming from? Yeah, they would not be happy.
Yeah.
And and that's what they had back then. So that was like a slow progress of becoming more professional, making a lot of mistakes or whatever. So if I can see and cut, like he said, we're pretty close, but we're not 100%. Because there's certain things now, like now the gi needs to be like, dude.
Yeah.
Let's just keep standard collars, having some set, but I can't really... How are they gonna know the weight of the weave? Like I don't even know.
Or like kids no gi. This is another one of thinking about like the parents and coaches' experience. IBJJF has standards for kids no gi uniforms.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like every kid I've ever seen train no gi has the wildest pink and zebra print.
Yeah.
And it's just like
it's like fun.
I was thinking through that, and Gustavo talked about it. Do we do IBJJF uniforms for kids for no-gi when we introduce this? And I'm like, this is going to be a horrible experience if we try to enforce this for everyone involved. My staff, the parent, whatever. So we're like, have the right material, and then you can wear whatever color you want. As an adult, you should be able to read the rules and let's look a little more professional, but let's give the kids some leeway. So that's an example where we deviated a little bit from IBJJF.
So to your point, there's one promotion that I don't support at all. And they haven't been around much, but anyway, we'll talk about who they are offline. But
I was like, name them.
Do it.
See, Gustavo knows. Do
it. So we did one of their tournaments, and it seemed like I wish I could remember the venue, but I just remember the walkway going down towards the mats was really big. So they had like 4 people doing gi check. With this particular promotion, it looks like they partnered with a gi company because it was like the promotion, the gi company's in the corner, and they were failing gi after gi after gi after gi. And they're like, you have to go buy one over there. But okay, for adults, like if the belt's frayed, like I totally understand that it's too short, whatever. These are children that they were failing, and they were having them go over and buy a gi and then come back through. And I was like, I'm never going to support this ever. Yeah. I mean, adults is one thing, but when you start doing it to kids, nah, man, that's not cool.
And I mean, even adults, again, if you think about it, how expensive the day is.
Yeah.
You don't want to send anybody to go add another 50%.
However, like last time I was walking by and Carissa, my wife, she's here, and I point a guy like, who's that guy with the gray gi?
What?
You know what I mean? The guy just walking around like, dude, I'm going to computer. Like, what do you mean I can wear my gray gi? So now like, we try to push. Dude, just take a look at the rules. If you don't don't come. I cannot rock my red gi. No, don't come.
It's kind of on the coaches though, because I feel like a lot of coaches don't prepare their students for that.
But I mean, not everyone is into the IBJJF scene in a way with so many schools growing. Not for us, it's kind of like a common sense sort of, being around and see it. But for a lot of people who are not in the IBJJF scene, they don't know.
Tojo makes a good point though. I wish more coaches were involved with their student body in terms of tournament preparation on small details like that.
Yeah.
Like the coach can save their students so much headache if they just do a quick scan of the rule set, the uniform policies, mention it the week leading up to the tournament. Things like the change and cancel process, that's a big one.
That's a big one,
I have some coaches that are awesome about scanning the brackets and seeing who's alone in the bracket and making sure that person gets moved before the deadline. Because the week of the deadline, once the deadline passes, my inbox is insane.
I bet.
You know, of, hey, we were out of town. Can I sign up now? Which again, like that I empathize with. But it's like, we missed the deadline. I didn't know I was supposed to move. Can I move now?
Yeah.
And it's tough because as soon as I move you, then the parent in the other one was like, my kid only had 2 matches to gold and now he has 3 matches to gold. This is unfair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
That means they get 3 matches.
if you start making, and then I kind of seem like a hard ass for not allowing moves like that. And I'm as absolutely accommodating as possible. If it doesn't affect a bracket, you know, if it's 2 singles and it's after the deadline and I can move them together to get them a match or something like that, I'll do all that stuff all day long.
Yeah.
But particularly like when I get all these day of bracket move requests and everybody's looking at their phone of what time the schedule is. As soon as I make one move, the schedule changes.
Yeah.
Now imagine I do that 15 times in a day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You know? So
You're like, this ain't Naga, bro.
So they seem like, you know,
Wow.
it may seem like we're kind of hard asses in certain areas in terms of applying those policies, but you just have to. If you want the tournament to run on time,
Yes.
if you want both sides of the bracket to be happy about how many matches and who has buys and all that, so you just can't.
Yeah. So I have basically a kind of like a twofold answer. Number one, I want the tournament to run on time. Number two, if you add a match to my bracket, I will send you a very sternly worded email, just so you know.
Crying.
We need to have a really good explanation why this is happening. You know what I mean? Because can we make mistakes? Sure, but most of the time it's, I guess, the software is like, it's here.
Is what it is.
So rarely we have like issues with that.
I would say in the last 6 years of kind of running this, I can count on one hand the number of tournament day bracket moves I've made.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've had a lot of sorry, can't do it conversations. Let me, try to compensate you in some way or whatever. But
And the difficulty too is that someone say like, well, but last month I was in this tournament. They did. Why you guys cannot do it?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're not them.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Do you want to go over that a little bit? Like, what is your guys' cancellation fee, policy versus just making a change?
Yep. So pretty straightforward, and it's all always in glorious detail on our Smooth Comp page.
If you read.
Plus, I have FAQ pages. Plus, I send out notifications leading up to the event. So there's lots of communications that we try to get out there. I understand it might not reach everyone. So registration always ends the Friday before the event.
Okay.
So if we're having a December 6th, the Friday before, registration ends
11:59.
11:59 p.m. Saturday, Sunday is a change or cancel window. So at the end of Friday, nobody else is moving into your bracket.
Yep.
If you're masters, you can move down in age. You can always move up in weight, masters or adult. Same thing, kids. If kids want to move up in age, they have to email me, but I can do that for them. Or if you just can't find anywhere to move, actually, one more thing on the kids. We do run an exhibition mat for kids. Typically, that's just because we try to get kids 2 matches. They have 3-minute matches, stuff like that. So if you only got 1 match in your bracket because you lost, or you only had 1 kid in your bracket and you want to get an exhibition match, we try to match you up close as possible. Doesn't count to medals or points or anything like that. So every once in a while, a parent will say, well, can we just stay single in our bracket and do exhibition match? Sure. But if you can't find anywhere to move, you can cancel for a full refund up until Sunday midnight.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah.
And anytime before that.
Honestly, as a matter of fact, as far as I know, maybe someone can mention, but you can cancel your registration at any point, no explanation. You can do by yourself. So you can go, because I think like this, man, if someone sign up for a tournament, if you sign up for a tournament, you cancel it, there's a reason. People don't sign up. It's like, usually there's a reason why. Yeah. So no questions asked. Just go ahead. Here's the process. Refund. Boom. That's it. I don't want to be, because you've done like credit before. Now it's a pain about like,
tracking
credit. Just like, you know what? You can't compete. Just go ahead, get your money back. However, after this date, after we close everything, and then it's not fair with the organization.
Yeah.
You know, to change. And again, people don't realize like that sometimes just moving one person up, it can
It's a butterfly effect.
interfere like in the bracket up, the bracket down, and then someone had a match, now they don't have anymore. Now it is there's so many.
It's a butterfly effect. Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that information is posted on our website. The single person bracket thing, when I first took over, we weren't really communicating out any of that. And again, you're a single mom. Maybe it's not your first language. It is your first tournament, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not a coach engaged with your team, letting mom know that that kid needs to move, he's going to show up on an event day and not have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he can't do an open weight. You know, he can maybe do an exhibition match, maybe or maybe not. We can't even guarantee that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where coaches can help be engaged, is just scan that stuff for your team. You can filter by your academy.
Yeah.
And, you know, academies have 30 at most students. It doesn't take that long to scan those.
Right.
Yeah.
I answer 100% of the support at AZBJJL emails that come in. So you'll get within a 24-hour response on any of those that you send. So we want, my goal is to have 0 people that are single bracket people on event day.
Yeah.
Doesn't always happen, but what I started doing, and this is another nice feature of Smooth Comp, is they will allow you to filter down who's in a single person bracket. So I send them both a text message and email Saturday and Sunday during the change window saying, hey, you're alone, cancel or move, cancel or move, cancel or move. And that's been helping a lot.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
I wonder how many, like, maybe not with AZBJL as much as IBJJF, but you have people who are definitely chasing those single man brackets for the points.
True. Yeah. We don't give points for that. You have to have a match.
Oh,
Right.
good. Good.
Yep.
Yes. I thought the IBJJF did that, but I think they still give
I
points
think
now.
maybe they do for rankings, not for team.
Sure.
Team
Yeah.
Yeah,
points they
for
don't,
personal
but
rankings.
for
Yeah.
personal, they
Yeah.
do.
And Smooth Comp doesn't allow, has been a point of contention because you're right. People do chase that.
Yeah.
Smooth Comp doesn't allow us to do that in Smooth Comp. You have to have a match to get points. So
On that point, are you guys going to do like a worlds kind of type thing, like a big championship, like highest points, rankings? That
You
kind of
know,
stuff?
we've done it. What we do, we still have the rankings and stuff. Never got like really traction. We did last year, actually from the ranking last year, we gave 3 tickets for people to compete in Portugal.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just see like it was kind of like meh, like no one really
know, it's
cared.
weird. It was weird.
So it'd be like what? This is such a tough topic about the pro divisions or whatever. You see women saying like, well, women don't get paid. Dude, we've been trying pro divisions for women. We had like maybe one that 3 girls show up once.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and never. So get to a point we want to do something, but be like, if people are not really interested, you know, we could be doing something else, invest in this and something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we had like really cool pro divisions before.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, the highlight that we ever had, the best one that I have to say, we had a 16-man tournament. The first time we had one was Tusa and Bruno Bastos in the finals. And that was $2,500 for the winner, $500 for second place. It was going to have a super fight. And then end up Kron was going to compete against JT, and then I think JT got hurt or something happened, and then kind of like, what am I going to do with this extra? Like, let's do this. So it worked out well. Mm-hmm. But when we do stuff like that, it's more for the competitors, because we had the final of one of Arizona Opens was Leandro Lo and Tanquinho. Wow. And 90% of the place have no clue who they are or even care.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the year both were world champions on that same year. You know what I mean? Both in their peaks. People don't care.
Yeah.
I'll be like, well, I'm going to make all that effort. And people are like,
Whatever. Yeah.
because from a promoter's perspective, like if you're doing that from a marketing perspective to drive more registrations, that just doesn't pan out in reality.
Yeah.
You know, you're offering decent chunks of prize money.
Yeah.
So anytime we do something like that, like we did last year, we did the pro divisions, and 2 years ago we did pro divisions. Last year we did the Portugal thing.
Yeah.
It's really just a give back promotion. To
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it looks good. It's like, I mean, I think it's cool that you guys are doing that.
And we do too, but apparently a large portion of the black belt competitors don't think so, because you're getting the same 3 guys registering. You know, does it make sense to just give checks to the same 3 guys? We appreciate those 3 guys showing up.
Sure, yeah.
We're really doing it to try to create a black belt bracket that's interesting to watch, and you only have 3 local.
Yeah, one of the things that we're kicking the idea, because I've done different ones for Masters Division. Like I've done we had the Masters Cup before. It'd be like, Master won $500, a winner, and then stuff like Master 2. So I decided to actually even ask the idea. I don't think everyone would like the idea, but I thought like maybe you can just kind of do super master. Any master can come in. This is the final prize. Whoever wants to come in, they compete in their own division. And then there's the super master people come in and compete. Whoever. Of course, people are like, whoa, that's not fair. I'm Master 5. Like, don't do it.
Right.
You have to do it.
That's okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's your division.
It's the absolute same thing. It's like, oh, this guy's like 280 pounds.
First of all, your doctor has not prescribed the right kind of steroids. Let me just start there. Okay. So you need a new doctor. But other than that, I agree.
Yeah. So it's something that I'm kicking the idea of possibly doing something like we put a prize. Like whoever wants to come in, any of the masters jump in. And feel like you want to do it.
When we brainstormed that idea, I was bullish on that idea, because if you look at the majority of the academy owners, especially the ones that bring decent teams, they're all masters level black belt people. So I would love to see give them some incentive. As a
coaches bracket.
Yeah.
Well, plus it also allows us academy owners to lead from the front.
Yep.
Right. I mean, that's kind of cool too. I like that idea.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see. We're probably at some point going to do, and I say maybe I'll do a state. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I've tried so many different formats or super fights or brackets or whatever. So we'll see.
You guys are trying things though.
So what I think is really good is anyone that I know, like any promotion that is, gets any kind of traction, they're always looking to go somewhere else. Like they start in California, they want to expand to Arizona, Texas, all that stuff. But I skipped New Mexico, whatever. But
there's people in New Mexico?
There are people in New Mexico.
Oh,
but you guys are Arizona. You guys want to improve the jiu-jitsu in Arizona, which is why, if there's any kind of, loyalty for me is twofold. Like you guys were the only game in town for a long time because nobody else wanted to come here. Maybe IBJJF should show up sporadically, right? But you guys have not only really focused on Arizona, you've increased the quality of jiu-jitsu in Arizona. I mean, period, I think. So is there any reason why you didn't think like outside of Arizona, like why you just stuck to the state and not wanted to get, maybe go west to California and have different tournaments, different places?
I'm not going to say that never crossed my mind, but I just feel I just do so much stuff and got to a point that I know that the beginning to develop this, I don't have to travel. Like, do I want to be on the road? Do I want to be like every time I'm going to a city? Do I want that for my lifestyle? No.
Yeah.
So it's am I completely opposed to? No, but you need to make a lot of sense for me as a business person. But do I have the desire to be traveling around, being on the road? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No desire.
Yeah.
And we've had the opportunity a couple of times to partner with out-of-state organizations, and we brainstormed it a little bit. And my initial reaction was, can we keep the same quality of event
that's
when
tough.
we go? And generally up to this point, the answer probably not.
I would say it. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but the IBJJF can't even do that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They can't keep the same. If you go to Master Worlds, I mean, you know the issues we have there, but it's still a great tournament.
Yeah.
Versus
New Orleans Open.
Versus the New Orleans Open, or the Phoenix Open. I mean, it ran on time. It was fine, but there were 4 mats. So there's a little bit of an issue with Phoenix, right, and the IBJJF.
Yeah, and I would say the final point on that, on like getting wandering eyes elsewhere, is if the Arizona market wasn't consistently growing and our events getting bigger, and us having enough focus on here locally to try to say, when do we add 14 mats?
Yeah.
When do we go to Fieldhouse A and because we need a bigger venue? Do we start taking on vendor? Like, there's plenty enough to focus on here to raise the bar with our quality of events here that I think our attention would be stretched if we tried to do.
And we've talked about that before, how like, all right, obviously California is like in the United States is like the hub of jiu-jitsu, right? There's just a million schools there, but like Phoenix and like, I mean, I guess like New York area is another good one, but like other than that, it's like you got California and you got New York, and then where else is as big as Phoenix is? Like
per capita?
Yeah.
Per capita in terms of quality jiu-jitsu, if you look at like the big name people here, I think we rank up just about anywhere in the country.
It's great. Yeah. We have a great community in this in the state.
Yeah.
For sure. Phoenix specifically.
So before we segue, because I want to go in a different direction, but before we segue, I want to ask you guys like what the craziest thing that has ever happened at a tournament where you guys as a group at the end, you're like, you're not going to believe this, but I'm going to share mine. Today, there was a rooster weight no-gi match where one competitor, not only did he throw up on the mats and on his competitor. He threw up all over the guy's head. Oh. It was all over him.
Oh my God, I missed that one. In Jordan's bracket?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then Jordan had to compete against the vomitee because the vomiter got DQ'd.
What are you going to go take a bathroom shower?
I wanted to buy him a rash guard. I'm like, dude, please. Yeah, he had vomit like on his arm and his hair. It was so bad. What's the craziest thing that's happened?
I don't think I'm going to remember one right now, but maybe you can.
I definitely have one that I cannot say on air. Think of what another one. I would say for me, the scariest one that we had is like safety issues.
Okay.
Those are the ones that always scare me.
Yeah.
A few events ago, we had an actual coach that had a pretty bad seizure issue. You know?
Wow. Yes. Yeah.
So anytime we have to call fire, an ambulance and stuff like that, those are usually the ones. Other than that, most memorable, I don't know that it's crazy, but like Gustavo said, I remember as a fresh blue belt watching Leandro Lowe and Tinquinho and being kind of a nerd of the sport, knowing who those guys are and like geeking out on that and looking around, and everybody else is like, I don't even know if there were cell phones back then, but like, chatting,
screwing around.
Like, didn't care that these icons of the sport were battling. And I mean, they had an awesome match too. And they're like battling it out on the mat.
Do you remember what year that was?
2012.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that would have been the year I started. Holy crap.
Wow.
And they were both, at the time, they were both top of the food chain. Like,
they won that year.
Yeah, Leandro was on his
one.
Yep. Yeah. He was on his crazy run where he was going from like lightweight, middleweight, middle heavyweight, where he was winning championships. I think he was a lightweight or middleweight that year, but and Tinquinho held his own. He was outsized.
Wow.
And Tinquinho held his own, so props to him for that.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
That had to be one of the highlights of in-state matches for sure.
Yeah.
And still have people like Robson Moura, Cron Gracie, Caio Terra, JT, Bruno Basso. So had a lot of like big names that came across and competed too. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. The medals. Oh, that's right. Tell me about that story.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's true. I think it was one of the Masters. We're still doing the Masters Cup. And I'm in contact with them like, dude, the medals are taking forever. And then I received this message on WhatsApp that the truck was leaving the place. It was going to São Paulo, whatever. And then apparently the guy lost control, flipped the truck. And then a common thing that people do in Brazil is, let's rob him. As soon as like, hey, it's out there. Yeah, it's okay. So I guess that's how they think.
Truck's on fire and they're looting literally out.
I've always wanted a $5 medal off at a truck.
Hell yeah.
So people saw like gold score.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
As soon as he told me this, automatically I was like, there is no way that no one's going to believe in my story. Be like, sure, yeah, the medals got robbed, the truck flipped out. There is no way that people know. No, we have images and it really happened. UPS got involved. There was a big scene. I saw the pictures, and then we post the pictures too, and saying that, man, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to send your medals after because
I think you brought the medals over in a box. Yeah,
It was a month-long process of literally paperwork to determine how many medals needed to be determined. I drove some way out to the east, West Valley. It was a month-long process. But
oh my gosh,
we felt it super important to make that right because it's such a big part of tournament.
But we
day.
had, I don't think we had one complaint though.
no,
You know what I mean? Everyone was really cool. Well, again, luckily I had the pictures, the image that, maybe people say like now it would be like AI. But it was just the scene and some videos, people like grabbing stuff for like, oh my God.
that's crazy.
Logistically, like, how early do you like to have like all like t-shirts, medals, all that stuff? How like before the tournament? How quickly do you guys want to have that stuff?
Depends what are we getting from. We get from Brazil, from China. It depends like what's going on. But like the t-shirts, we basically with Eddie from Agro, he kicks ass the week of. And we get the final numbers. And even though we end up just giving to orphanage a bunch of t-shirts, but sometimes hundreds of shirts.
Right.
Wow.
If we remove people, like, where are the t-shirts? And then we give and sometimes we leave with boxes of t-shirts that people don't pick up, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And medals, for example, right now we're recording this November. In a couple weeks, the order needs to be final for February. You know what I mean? Because time to produce plus,
Shipping and all that.
And
which is always a little bit of a fuzzy math game because you have to look year over year. How many people are you having at this tournament? How many on average golds do you have?
Because you can't do it the week before when it's finalized.
It's got to be a lot in advance. And so, but the things are expensive.
Yeah.
So, if you over order all the time, you're going to be
But I imagine you do account for that, right? So you do over order, 10%? What's the...
No, in every tournament, it's so different because sometimes you can have, 20 people in one division, but 20 people could be spread out in 6 divisions, 7 divisions.
Right.
So we cannot do a math based on like, this is because people say like, it's easy. You just see how many divisions you have. Like, do you think I'm going to order a medal for Master 5, brown belt, featherweight? I need 4 the brown belt, Master 5, blue belt. No, you can get, otherwise I have like thousands and thousands of medals, like, especially for us, maybe for IBJJF might be different. But for us, I keep track of like what is the average, usually how much you usually have, and then and then kind of bump it up like a 10% or more. But it's a tough one. There's people that promote terms sometimes ask me, hey, do you have a formula to it? There is no formula
because it's so different. Yeah.
Like I don't want to call it guesswork, but I mean it's pretty close.
It is
pretty close.
It's educated guesses.
Yeah, because right now this year that we start doing the no-gi, which doesn't have a lot of traction, people ask, but it's not really.
It's coming
quite
though.
there. Yeah, but at the same, so now and asking the kids, it's so tough to figure it out. Like, okay, the gi divisions got it. We already got the good grasp of that. So now, because I can check the numbers, and now the no gi, it's so like it's new.
It's all over.
So you had to get rid of no gi for 1 year, and then came back a little bit.
Yeah, because if we try to do this gi and no gi to see if it works, but when it was just no gi, we never broke 150 people.
Wow.
We never broke 150.
And that was at the height of everybody saying
this was the peak.
The gi is dead.
Oh my God. We've talked about that too. It's like, shut up.
And
and we never hit a 150 again. It was like 120, 115.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I would always tell people that say that, are you talking about a pro jiu-jitsu perspective as a spectator, or are you talking about tournament jiu-jitsu? Right. Because if you're talking about tournament jiu-jitsu, you can ask any tournament promoter.
Not even close.
It's not even close.
Yeah, then you have like the Jiu-Jitsu Con, and it's like the biggest jiu-jitsu tournament of all time. You're like, it's like 99% gi. There's like a little bit of no gi, obviously, but
and that's not to bash no gi. There are some people who only like to do that, and that's fine. That's why we added it back.
And they're wrong, but
well, as an old man who likes as many handles and controls as I can get against the young wrestlers, yes, I agree with that as well.
Well, my school in particular, we actually removed a gi class and added a no gi class for the kids because they just love it.
Yeah.
Like I'll have 20, 25 kids in a gi class. I'll have 45, 50 kids in a no gi class. So we had to add that just to relieve some of that pressure because our Friday class was always pretty light. Now it's like 25, 30. Yeah. Just kids. Yeah. Doing no gi. So it's coming.
We added one in our school too, and I think kids just like that. It's different. Like, I don't get to wear the gi, and then get that excitement.
Well, I think I'm sure that's part of it, but I also think like when a kid comes in to try a class, I just put them in the no-gi class because they don't have to buy a uniform. They get to try it out, stuff like that. And then that kind of becomes their class. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that's what's happening, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I was in Tampa at Hobson Morris camp, and we had a meeting with all the school owners and stuff like that, and we're talking about the gi, no gi. And it's interesting because you hear from different states, from guys from Canada, and some people are like, dude, no gi doesn't happen. The other one's like, dude, no gi is popping. So it's
depends
each
on the market.
area. Yeah, it's very unique. There's no way to say like this is dying. This is like, nah, it really depends. It depends what the school wants to really. That's the direction they want to go.
Yeah,
like 10th Planet, they have their curriculum, and it's 100% no gi, and they have the crowd that wants it, and they have their system, and then boom, it works for them, and it's great, and it is what it is.
I always find it annoying because there's like so many people who are like you said, gi's dead, blah blah blah, and then they talk all this shit, and then you guys put on a no gi tournament, and like no one, like you said, no one shows up. I'm like, come on, put your money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
Show up to this no gi tournament.
Yeah, so we finally this year actually, beginning of this year. Started offering both gi and no gi in every event. And then we used to do like the Masters Cup,
Novice Cup with the no gi, or the Novice Cup Copa Bella, and then
and those were, I think, were cool for their time. But we got disappointed competitors that there was no, like adult men's division at that event. So starting this year, we did two things. One, we replaced those with these Grand Canyon events. So we had a Grand Canyon spring and a Grand Canyon fall, and we just offered all divisions for that. And then we offered gi and no gi at every event now too. And so far it's going good. We basically, the way we do it from a pricing perspective is if you only want to do one division, it's a certain price, and then you can a la carte add on another one. For, again, looking at competitors' prices and stuff like that, we try to stay a little under and competitive because we know it can get expensive if you have two kids that want to do both divisions and that sort of thing. Yeah. So, I think we've landed at a pretty good place from what I'm hearing from the coaches and competitors as far as the offerings.
Yeah.
And now the job is just to keep the quality of the events high.
Yeah.
And we are very well aware that we're not satisfied everyone.
Right.
Yeah. You can't.
And we have our intentions that are being the same, helping to grow the community, give experience to people. How many world champions that have competed got their experience competing in our mats?
Yeah.
So many high-level guys from Arizona.
Yeah.
That got their reps here when they didn't have opens to go. They didn't always. People don't realize that they had opens every weekend. They didn't have any opens whatsoever.
Yeah.
So now is much better. Like back then, the transition for a competitor, even in Brazil, because they didn't have the opens there too, was very rough because it was Brazilian Nationals, the Pans, the World. There's like 4 or 5 tournaments. So a guy that is a brand new black belt to go right away and boom, just got hit with like a big name. And so that was always a tough transition. Now, now we have at least the opportunity to go to some opens, get other people in the same situation.
Well, I know this for a fact because we have, I've known you a long time, and I try to make it a point to make sure, like I tell you, like Chris also, like I try to make it a point to say, hey, great job with the kids today. It went smooth. Give you a little feedback. But we have had a couple issues that you guys just flat out made right. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't even like there wasn't even pushback. Like you heard me out, and then you guys just made it right. And it's usually, a parent that's pissed off about blah, 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 but.
Yeah. I mean, I try to stay friendly with the majority of coaches.
Yeah.
Just that's my personality as it is anyway.
Who do you not stay friendly with?
Oh, yeah. Can you get names? Get that shit out right now.
Gustavo mostly.
Ones that are consistently unreasonable.
Yeah.
But even though the coaches that I'm friendly with, I tell them it helps me if you give us constructive criticism.
Sure.
If you're just coming to bitch to, rant, right. I can listen to that as well. But what I prefer is, and I have a few coaches that are really good at this, like Nathan Ziegler, for example. He's like, I always pat you guys on the back. I always say you do a great job, but here's something I think just didn't go right today.
Yeah.
And I don't care if that's like the check-in process, some responsiveness, we didn't get back to a parent, or a ref call, whatever it is. Because the only way we improve is to hear constructive feedback from
not just bitching.
And I value it from everyone, but I value it most from the coaches, especially the ones that have been around for a while.
Yeah.
Because they know what's nitpicking and what's fundamental.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good about giving me the fundamental things. Because at the end of the day, we all have a collective same goal, which is quality events for the students we're serving.
100%.
I was going to ask you guys earlier, what's the split between kids and adults masters? Like, is it 50?
It's pretty much 50-50. Sometimes
really?
Can get 60-40.
Because it seems so much busier with the kids, but every kid comes with at least one parent, right?
So the kids' half of the day is definitely more chaotic.
Yeah.
Right.
I tell my staff, just get past the kids half of the day, and then you'll be
smooth sailing,
and then you'll be able to exhale a little bit
Yeah.
because you'll be like, all right, you're on deck. You turn around to get the other one. That kid's going. It's tough,
and they're all like picking each other's noses and stuff.
Yeah,
Just get over here.
And I'm always safety concerned first. So like adults, they're kind of on their own for tapping and stuff like that. But I always hold my breath when I see a kid injured on the mats or something like that.
And that's kind of what when I'm kind of pointing. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when I'm pointing parents into a direction that I want them to go, like we should support this tournament versus that. For me, it's an athlete safety thing. Like if you don't have really good refs, there's a really good chance someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Right. If the referee is just in the wrong spot and can't see hands tapping, that's a big deal. But parents don't. They kind of take for granted that there's refs and they'll be fine, but they're not.
It's sort of an unseen element of running these events, but the safety thing. If anybody always asks me like, what's your most important thing, running on time or having big names in your tournaments, but safety is the number one thing. To that end, like for example, we just switched out medic companies this year. Wasn't really happy with the previous one. Got a new one. They've been seeming to do a really good job. Had a senior person there last time, and I sort of negotiated like, hey, if we do a bunch of events with you, will you keep this guy on staff?
Nice.
One of his pieces of feedback was, hey, we typically staff 4 people, but if somebody is attending to somebody on the mat and they're not watching there, because I always tell them at the beginning of the day, I have one and only one requirement of you guys, and it's that you have eyes on the mat, all mats, 100% of the day, no exceptions.
Yep.
Right.
If you have to go to the bathroom, figure out a communication system. And so
are they self-managed?
They're an external company, but they're all like EMT certified and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is a escalation protocol. If there's something they can't triage locally, then it's a 911 call and that sort of thing. Fortunately, knock on wood, we haven't had too many of those.
Yeah.
But in terms of the safety thing, one of the comments that the head medic gave me last time was it might be good for us to add a floater because regularly today we would have 2 people get pulled. There was one event where it required 3 of the medics on one mat.
Yeah.
And it's really tough to stop the tournament dead, because then schedules start getting affected, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I simply don't want to run the event if I don't have medical coverage on these things. So he said, if we had a floater and one person has to go attend or even 2, that gives us a little more bandwidth in order to sit somebody in the chair and say, you're covering these mats while that person is gone.
Yeah.
So we agreed it's a little bit more of an expense, but we agreed to add on his. So that's kind of some of the unseen stuff that happens behind the scenes in these events.
It's a big production. One of the things people don't realize, 12 official mats, it's the same structure of the Brazilian National, 12 mats.
Yeah.
Hands are 12 mats. I think now they're doing 14. But, man, it's a big production.
Yeah.
But as far as safety goes, I mean, I can't even so I mean, obviously people like, you know, pop elbows, pop knees, that kind of stuff happens. But when was the last time you like really had to like, other than like you said the guy had the seizure from a match, someone had to get taken out in an ambulance, taken to the hospital?
Yeah. Fortunately, we have not had any in the kids divisions.
Right.
I think maybe last year we had one guy, I'm pretty sure it was like a compound issue with an arm bar, just didn't tap early enough.
Yeah, right. But no like super bad head injuries,
no
back,
cervical
neck.
stuff like that. We had one that thought maybe it would be. So again, I actually stopped the event for like 10 or 15 minutes because all the medics were there. And I'm like, I'm not running these mats over here if we don't have coverage. EMTs came, they checked the guy out. He was okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Which speaks to you guys, again, speaks to the safety priority that you guys have, because I was at the West Coast ADCC West Coast trials the year that guy was like, because they're allowed to slam if they're in a submission. Guy had him in like a triangle or something, picked him up, slammed him, and it's not like they're padded mats other than like, you know, the 2 inches
They're
of
just mats
padding.
on concrete.
Yeah. And that guy had to get taken on the hospital. I'm sure he had back issues after that.
Yeah, and maybe that's a rule set thing. One of the last things I'll say on the safety thing is every once in a while we'll get an overzealous parent that says, hey, you know, why did you stop the match? He was able to get out of that submission. He's gotten out of it before. And I tell them my refs are 100% authorized to stop the match early if they feel like a kid is in danger.
Oh, yeah.
Because kids do not have, maybe your son or daughter is different, but on the whole, they don't have the discretion to tap at the appropriate time. Adults, it's a little different. You know, the discretion is on them and not on the ref.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the kids division, the discretion is on the ref, and he feels like your kid's in danger. 100 out of 100 times, I will support him stopping.
Yeah, that's the right
match.
move, 100% for sure.
So I really suck at segues, so I'm just gonna change the subject. So it's my thing. I want to talk about Jiu-Jitsu Tribe because we haven't had a chance to talk about that. And you've been on the podcast before. I think we went 4 hours, and we may have mentioned it a little bit.
You're only a quarter of the way through then.
I know. But we actually have, well, I guess the Phoenix Jiu-Jitsu community has kind of adopted, you know, the Rocky Point BJJ as, you know, we just go out there, we give them gis and, you know, bring them t-shirts and whatever, you know. And I think they would be based on the conversation we had about it, I think it'd be a great candidate just to kind of give them a look for the through Jiu-Jitsu Tribe, because they do a lot for that community and they're trying really hard to grow it. And we were there for one of their promotion ceremonies.
It's awesome, guys.
One guy, I mean, they literally got off crack cocaine, you know, using jiu-jitsu as his avenue, you know, of escape. And
I don't think I'm familiar with their work.
So just Rocky Point Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah.
So just a small jiu-jitsu school. The owner
growing.
Yes, growing. The owner is actually a bartender that works, you know, where all the Americans go. Hector, what's his last name? I'll get you his contact info. But so he works there, and I think his wife comes to the States to work, and then she goes home on weekends. So they're just, you know, back and forth. I don't know if they're just hustling as hard as they can. So it's him. There's another guy. I don't even know his name. Oso. We just call him Oso. Big guy.
Yeah.
Bear. But they do. They literally just open up their doors to the community, and they have, you know, piecemeal mats, you know, wherever they can. Some people just bring like, I got a couple extra zebra mats. They just drop them off, but they make do with what they've got. And I just love going out there because we've shown up for just open mats, and then they're like, "Oh, professor, do you want us to warm up first? Or are you going to teach?" I'm like, I just kind of showed up hungover for an open mat, but I'll show something, you know. But they're just so eager to learn, and man, I'm so appreciative of them opening their doors to us anytime. We went there once, and one of our friends called ahead and said, "Hey, we can only be there on Thursday for some reason." Thursday, 10 o'clock, and they're like, "Oh, sure, yeah, no problem." So they followed up, And the reason they followed up to make sure we were going to be there is because people called off work just so they could be there, and they can't afford to do that.
Right,
you know what I mean? And that was, I think it was like kind of selfish on our part. Be like, it's a Thursday. What the hell, you know? But that's how much they're eager to learn, that they would, you know, they'd make that sacrifice. And I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway.
Yeah, I would love to learn more about it.
Okay.
We don't have, here in the U.S., there are very few programs. There's an amazing program in Tucson, the Higher Ground, that's been going on for maybe like 15 years, right? With so they do a great job. I think they're the only ones, as far as I know, even in U.S., they're able to put jiu-jitsu in a school district in Tucson.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of cool stuff happening.
That's awesome.
That have been do what we can. But a lot of the Guardian Gym does an incredible work too. They have their gym in Peru, but they do, I don't know exactly how it works with the gym, the partnership they do with gyms, you know, throughout the U.S. I think maybe they have one now in Arizona, but I don't know exactly how they work. But it's just the idea of supporting projects, social projects that we call in Brazil, like just teaching jiu-jitsu for free and making an impact. And could it be for adults, could it be for kids, whoever, it's spreading the word. I've done a gi drive and I tried to send gis to Brazil. It was a nightmare, logistic and shipping, a lot of bureaucracy. And then even the gi company say like, dude, it's better just save the money, buy the gis there, than try to send gis, because I did once and I'll never do it again. It was a disaster. Yeah. It was so, they make it so complicated that would be like, dude, it's not really worth it. Yeah. So we have our Jiu-Jitsu Tribe Institute there that started a few years ago. Besides, I get to travel and go to locations. But this one, we got into a rural town in the south of Brazil, and now we have close to 500 kids training for free in the school system, with something that it's not. Again, I don't know in Brazil a place that is doing that. Yeah, that the mayor really bought in. I had a meeting with the mayor, like super cool dude, local dude. Get the school bus to get the kids to take the class. So man, it was awesome. And this year at the state, we had the first time that we sponsored a kid from Brazil to come here to compete. So that was a great experience. Wow,
that's cool.
Yeah, and his coach came with him as well, which was a big deal, because that guy that runs that social project down there, we've tried to partner with several of these types of social projects down there. And the problem is the community leader that's leading it has life issues himself, needs to get a full-time job, and you know, they don't have enough funding, and it just kind of falls apart. Yeah.
Armando, sorry, that's his name, Armando,
the Mexico guy.
Sorry, the Mexico guy. Sorry, it was right there.
Yeah. Okay. So the person that we brought for AZ State this year, who also got to compete, you know, is their first times in the U.S., and that was really interesting.
That's so cool.
And you know what's cool too? This kid, they stay in my house for the week. That was the first time an athlete of any sport left the country for a competition.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it was a process of fundraising to, you know, visas are not that easy. There's, all that stuff to make that happen, the cost. So the goal is to once a year being able to bring, this year we want to bring, if possible, 2 instead of 1. And it's not about necessarily the competitor, but because when we started this process there of like, hey, I think it would be cool for them to come to Arizona to visit. Most of the community, didn't believe and would make kind of fun of it, like in a way, like someone from here is gonna go to the United States.
Just so unrealistic.
Wow. Yeah.
it's
So
like a fairy tale.
So when this happened, now everyone's like, oh wow. So we're just planting that seed of like hope that it's actually someone did it. So that means maybe I can do it too.
Yeah.
So he kind of was a little celebrity for a little bit of going to podcast, TV or whatever, just because he was able to have this experience. And again, now jiu-jitsu is growing there. on this specific area, it's basically their main sport right now.
Wow,
that's cool.
So when I go there, man, I have a blast too, just because the kids just have a lot of like, they're so excited to train. It's very different than a commercial school, let's say.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe you see that when you go to Rocky Point. You know, it's just a different desire.
Yeah.
You know, that's something they're very appreciative. Like, dude, I get to train jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Which here in US maybe kind of like, my mom wants me to train jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? It's a different vibe.
It is. It's totally a different vibe, and I kind of selfishly love it because when we go there and train, like people wearing like our gis and stuff like that we brought over, that's kind of cool. And I just kind of mentioned, like, you know, because I go out there twice a year, and I just kind of mentioned, hey, we're going out to Rocky Point and be gone for a week, blah blah, and like, oh, you know. Someone kind of chuckled, are you packing a gi? I'm like, absolutely. And I kind of told them, you know, where we're going. And I was just surprised. They're like, oh, you know, people are just bringing stacks of gis, like, bring this one, bring that one. So I was able to just bring this giant tub, you know, of just gear for those guys.
I've got a closet full. I can.
There you go, man. They'll take them.
Don't we all, right? Just
yeah, they'll take them, man.
What do you do with them?
Yeah, and they're just so appreciative of it. And it's kind of cool. Like, you see the younger kids, little white belts coming in, and they're tough kids. So it's pretty
Probably
cool.
wouldn't have to twist my arm too hard to go down and teach for
go.
for Let's
go,
It's
man.
nice.
Absolutely.
They take care of you too. Like
Yeah.
he said, Armando like works at the bar there, and he hooks you up. And,
Yeah.
and not that
Yeah.
that's the goal, but he just does, because that's how they just support the people that support them.
Yeah. Yeah. And each time I'm going out there, I'll hit them up like, hey, we're going to go out there, you know, love to get a day of training, and they're all over it. So
Yeah, offline we should learn a little more about them, and
absolutely.
maybe there's ways we can support.
That'd be great. Yeah. Yeah. I think the immediate need, and I'm trying to help them with this, is like they need a decent set of mats. They need mat space, you know, and that I would say, you know, yes, they can always use rash guards and gis, but I think, you know, if I could pick something out for them that would make that place really, really jump, that'd probably be it.
Yeah, because one of the things I do, I was just in Tampa, and I do fundraisers too. You know, so this is something that we can absolutely do. I have seminars that are kind of private seminars, or seminars that are through Jiu-Jitsu Tribe, so it depends.
Yeah.
But yeah, in one seminar might be able to raise a good money to maybe, depending on the space.
Sure.
Be able to, with some more donations here and there, be able to.
But that's
so much fun.
It's the easiest way to fundraising is very difficult.
Yeah.
You know, because people are stretched financially, number one, and number two, you know, when it's out of sight, out of mind sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when you have a compelling backstory, like fundraising to bring a kid to the United States from the first time from a favela, blah, 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 like that's something that's easier. People can wrap their arms around than saying, hey, we're supporting this academy in Brazil and they can't pay the electric bill. Like, can you help us? Like, that's just
it's a little different.
Sort of far out there. So, you know, maybe we can put something together in terms of a program, backstory, fundraising goal, that sort of thing for some mats for those guys. Yeah,
I'll be out there in January, so I'll probably just, you know, do a little mini podcast with them, and, you know, just get a little bit more of their story and stuff. It's really interesting. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up.
Get some good photos.
Absolutely. Yeah. But how did the whole idea of the Jiu-Jitsu Tribe start and get traction?
I always had the idea of like giving back in a way, but the idea has evolved, right? But I always thought that even when before I got to the United States, I always thought, man, one day I want to be able to do something for. It started as giving something to a competitor that can't afford. I had people that helped me throughout my journey, and I kind of always felt a need. In 2010, when started this, the idea started kind of like, help, you know, paying entry fees and stuff like that. So that was cool. And as a matter of fact, kind of going on a tangent a little bit, but I was at the camp, and Cassia Moura, I don't know if you heard, she's Bruno Basso's student. She got famous, that got kind of like jumped from blue to black in a year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So she won the Black Belt no gi worlds, won the Brazilian nationals with a gi. I mean, she's incredible.
Badass.
So it's really cool that the first program that we ever paid entry fee. She's part of that group.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, is that wild?
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
So we were talking about it, and then I totally even forgot about this. And then she was there teaching the class too, and mentioned how she was teaching her first seminar, at Hobson's, and she started training as a child, and then when she was 12, the coach said, like, hey, Bruno, like, I had this girl here, you should check her. She's different. And then how many times you hear, like, oh, I have this kid, I have how many times you hear that? And he was like, okay. And then the girl ended up being like, wow, she's different. And she is a great girl, super hard worker. And things are going really well for that. And starting from a social project that we're able to at least support just paying entry fees. But the problem is these guys, they do fundraisers to raise money, to compete, because the problem is not entry fees. Entry fees are easy. The biggest problem is transportation, actually. Because you have like 10, 15 kids, and it's not easy to rent, and many times end up being like a little bus, and it's super expensive. So we had one of the kids that we had to help in one of the places to get their that's what wasn't my trigger to be like, we need to change our mission, because this guy's doing fundraiser for this, for that, to raise money, and then next thing they're cutting the power because they don't have money to pay electricity, so they're giving more importance to the actual entry fee. So they decide, you know what, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to work on sustainability, because it doesn't do any good to get you to compete and then, okay, the program is over. So we start to kind of really reevaluate how can we help in other ways, or constructions, or gis, or in general, having their sustainability. So the program is going, get possibly the coach to make some money, because otherwise you have to quit and then start working. So start to look more into their route. So I started from a competition kind of point of view in my 20s, and then I started to, wait a minute, as we evolve in jiu-jitsu, we all love jiu-jitsu, but our vision about jiu-jitsu, as we get more mature, keeps evolving more and more. You see the big picture of jiu-jitsu than just winning medals and being champions or whatever. So with that in mind, we started to work on that, and visiting the places and finding a way to help the programs with sustainability. And I do a lot of different things in my life, and by far at 50 years old, this is the most fulfilling activity that I do in my life.
That's so cool.
It's very emotionally draining, I tell you that. When you're there, it's awesome, but I hop back in a plane, I feel like I took a beating, you know what I mean? Like emotionally, because you're just so drained. The stories that you hear are so brutal, and then what you see, it's just so out of control. I'm just gonna share one story that is kind of brutal that just happened. Remember when Leo was here? The guy, the coach here, was here. Dude, it gives me goosebumps because it's so awful. So he's just panicking, just hyperventilating. He tells me there's one kid. He's 15. He teaches at the school. Said, like, there's something going on with this kid. He's having some attitude, and he's talking with the principal. Like, you guys should check him. There's something going on with this kid. Long story short, he gets this call when he was here.
Just got done competing at the
this is a few months ago. And so comes to find out the kid's stepdad was molesting him.
Oh no.
Okay. And he's been trying to tell the mom that doesn't believe. One day, the kid lost it. He stabbed the mom to death and hung himself. And then the kids from the project walk in and saw, just because they thought they were doing something to his little brother. So it's just his little brother was there. Stabbed the mom to death and hung himself.
Oh, my gosh.
So the dude was just like shaking, like, you know what I mean? What do I say? What do I say to this guy that, because you start kind of having in my mind, he's feeling guilty and there's nothing to do with him, but he was like, kind of like I could have done something. I
Yeah.
told there's something going on with this kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is the kind of like wild stuff that happened that we don't even realize. Imagine how broken this kid needs to be to get to that point of desperation, you know, to do that.
Yeah.
That is
Sad. Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That is insane. That was, as far as I know, it's like a horror movie. I think I've heard some close to as bad, but that one, I think officially that's the worst that I've heard.
Yeah.
That is wild. So,
I mean, on the flip side, though, why somebody like that does that type of work, another story from a social project, kids are actually training on the side of the road because they didn't even have a facility.
Whoa.
On our Jiu-Jitsu Tribe Instagram page, you can find an actual where
I
they're
posted that I think a couple weeks ago at the end of my
Yeah.
Instagram.
where they're actually, it's raining out and they're literally training in the rain.
That's awesome.
But correct me if I'm wrong here, Gustavo, but that social project, there was one of the students that was coming to training, but also, you know, kind of mixed up with the wrong kids.
Sure.
One day his friends were like, come with us, we're going to go do this, Robert, blah, blah, blah. He didn't go, went to training, and the kids that he was supposed to go with were murdered in the shot in the robbery. Is that I have the details pretty much correct?
Wow.
So had that person that started that social project not introduced it to community and not got that kid involved enough to where he wanted to go to training instead of go do the nefarious things, he might not be alive today.
Wow.
So you get those sort of, that's not necessarily a heartwarming story, but it shows you the value of that type of work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And those things, unfortunately, are just kind of a dime a dozen there.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did the inspiration come with you? I mean, cause you're all in on the, on the community projects and stuff. So is that something that was in your heart? Is that something that you grew up with?
I came from very humble beginnings when I grew up, grew up in the not best neighborhood, and I had opportunities to kind of go down the wrong path. Sure. Fortunately, like high school, college sports kind of kept me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
Mostly. Still a knucklehead, but mostly. And then I kind of got into the corporate world in my early part of my adult life and was able to do reasonably well. Sold a business in 2017. And I intentionally did not want to do anything entrepreneurial for a while. I needed a sabbatical. I was a little burnout on that rat race. And I said, how can I fill my time? And what am I passionate about? And philanthropy and jiu-jitsu were the two things that seemed worthwhile. And Gustavo is great at the face side of it, but could have used some help on the back end, because a lot of trying to run one of these things is donation management systems and event management systems and scheduling and tickets and that sort of thing. And I have a technology background. So, I said, hey, do you need some help here? He said, absolutely. And so we kind of went through a rebranding, went on a little retreat, did rebranding, and that's how I got involved. And so,
wow.
He is still the guy on the front lines, but I try to support him, from behind the scenes as much as possible.
That's great, man. That's great. Yeah. I mean, to date, do you have like statistics on, how many people you've helped, how many projects you've done, anything like that?
I can say for the past 15 years, I can say for the past 3 years, we gave close to 250 brand new custom-made gis.
Wow.
Not just donated.
Sure. Yep.
We did some, and hopefully can do it again soon. The idea of buy a gi, and the gi that you buy, the Jiu-Jitsu Tribe gi, custom-made, and then the money that basically you put in is the money to cover the production and produce a brand new gi for a child. So this is really cool that, because nowadays what is tough, I mean, there's so many different brands,
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Browse it's a great gi. There's many great gis, but I feel that there's the difference of like, because I purchased this gi, a kid has a gi just like it.
Absolutely.
The same gi that I'm wearing, some kid is wearing, and those gis too. In Brazil, it's a absurd the amount, like how expensive a gi is. I was like, dude, how people buy gis? It's pretty outrageous actually. And them having, we'll have some videos of the kids doing it, and it's such an incredible experience for them because it's a mindset shift. That's something that I learned in Brazil too, because when you come from those areas, you're so used to just give me whatever,
hand me down stuff.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Do
So
you have old shoes? Do you have old whatever? Just give me. So them to actually have the ability, you see them putting like they put in a suit, you know what I mean? Like they smelling the new thing. So
it was a strategic decision because we were talking about how to get them gis, and we were talking about doing local gi drives down there from other academies and whatever. But it was a strategic decision that these kids never get anything new,
right?
Where you take the package off, and that's such whole a great experience. And they didn't know that was coming, and have it branded with the project on there. You know how you feel when you have your patch on.
100%. Yeah.
So like to give them that and not just the gi was a big part of the project.
That is so cool.
There's another community leader in Brazil. She is incredible, and I got this idea developing with her. She is unbelievable, and they did like a shoe drive, but like brand new. So like, no, we're not gonna give anything old because we want the experience. Open a box, smell the brand new shoe. That psychologically, man, that changes.
It's awesome.
It's not just like whatever you have, you know. So that the mindset shift. So that's the approach that we wanted to use for them to know, like, you can have something high quality. You don't have to just take whatever, you know. Do it. So it's something that we won the last time. We didn't do too well, like too many sales. We raised some money and purchased more to try to fill out more. But again, there's so many. Not everyone's going to connect with the message. Not everyone are like, man, I already have a bunch of gis. I don't need another gi. But the message is not the actual gi that really matters. Just, you know. So it's a tough one. But we do what we can little by little. There's not too many people doing this type of work. So we do our best to identify some of the projects, say like, man, how can we help? Because doing this work, I learned that, I don't know, I think about in layers. Like you can go in and, for example, my lower layers, you made a donation. Doesn't matter how much, you made a donation. An upgrade of that, you donate your time, because I feel that donating your time many times is much more. It's easy to write a check or just transfer, but you actually put in your time. So this one, and then you have an upgrade of that, someone that started some type of social program, teaching music, jiu-jitsu, or whatever. And then the upgrade, that's the people that we tried. That's what I learned through this journey. There's another group that is, I call the unicorns. The unicorns are the ones that are community leaders. They're not just social project leaders. That means if you run a project, and I'm the leader, I'm going to take care of mine, yours, you know, and man, the city is not taking care of it. They're not picking up the trash. I'm going to go knock on the door of the city. I mean, the dude, it's like, they're born. And this guy that came here, he's a community leader. Naturally, the guy live in the streets, you know, like, you see that's on his DNA. You know what I mean? There's no other way. The guy lived for that. So sometimes people say like, "Oh man, you're in the same category." It's like, no. It's not fair to even put him in the same category, because I have my work and I do my thing, and then and put my time. This guy, whether he's making money or not, he's serving. He's taking what he doesn't have. You know what I mean, and give to people. And I have to, over the years, I do a lot of coaching with him and my cousin too, for him to like, I understand, dude. I totally understand, we get it, but you need to think about yourself too, because they're gonna suck your soul. Because people they don't care. People just like more, and he's always like, he gives like what he doesn't have, and he changed a lot his mindset to serve better. But at the end of the day, like, you need to be well to help others. You know, and those are the first things that analogy of like, there's a reason why something happened in the plane. Make sure you put the mask on you, and then you help people, because otherwise you put a mask everywhere. Next thing you pass out. You know,
that's such a good point.
You won't be able to help anybody. So that is the main analogy. That was the main wake up call for him. That like, dude, take care of yourself, take care of your health. You know, so he's been doing great, and It was when he competed. Did you see his match? Yeah. So when he won, he only had one match and stuff, and he struggled to make it. Was a disaster, but he made weight. I was like, dude, I don't know how. I was like, I know a thing or two about cutting weight. I was like, you're in trouble. Just let you know.
When he got off the plane, he was not where he needed to be. Let's put it that way.
His lips just like all like, I was like, dude, I'm glad that I just don't want him to die with a match. Okay,
oh my gosh.
So anyway, but when the match was over, like he couldn't get up because he was just bawling, crying.
Wow.
But it wasn't like I won the match. It's like 50 years of this guy, being homeless, helping people, doing all that. The dude couldn't even get up just because it's just everything, the dream that he had one day to leave the country, to go somewhere else. So for him, it was just, it was so beautiful to see that I could see that, and even the guy's coach, you see, like, that had his struggles soon past. Like, I can see that dude was a broken man that like went through a lot of shit to, for him to be able to where he came from, to get in a plane, to live abroad, to compete, to do what he's doing. It was such a, incredible experience, and to be able to share this with them, with all the other kids, and saying, seeing that it's possible, and it's been fun for me to coach him through. It's a guy in the middle of like a rural area that, dude, they don't get. Okay, we have internet right now and everything, but it's not like he really lived. And we started to help with because he wanted to do tournaments. So his tournament, very good intention, but it was all messed up. So we got basically Jiu-Jitsu Tribe and ZBJJL involved, with this. So now we have one of the best tournaments in the south of Brazil.
Wow. And
we do the next one's right now, December, and it's dedicated to students from social projects. So 80% are from them. And we do something that maybe you're listening right now, you don't realize that you just like, hey, go compete. Hey, let's go have a beer. Let's eat something. Those kids, they're ready to do fundraisers to try to get transportation. They stay all day without eating, by the way, because they can't afford.
Right.
So since the beginning, because of he always mentioned to me, I have this thing with food because I struggle so much with hunger or living on the street and not really having what to eat. So every competition, every competitor from Social Project, they have a meal guaranteed, but like that's good cool. Meal, not just like crappy, you know what I mean? Like, so with people caring, like really cooking, but like with care, and they love. So the kids, they get excited. They're going to compete, but they get to eat a nice meal after. This is insane.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
So to be able to witness that, and then just being able, like how excited they are to be eating after a jiu-jitsu tournament. And that is the main thing that we got. The same medals that we have here for the tournament, they get that. They not even people get those tournaments in Brazil, IBJJF tournaments. Medals, they're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So now they get to experience like a real like treatment. You know what I mean? Of really take care of that. They can go to a BJJ tournament with a mixed match gi or whatever. We don't have that, but we make sure that everyone is treated like fairly, and they have the experience to have a good experience, a good medal. And this is going to be, I think, the 30 years. So it has been a completely major shift in the competition scene, especially to the social projects that people really don't care, including big organizations.
Yeah.
So we made it browser sponsor. We made plaques for all the community leaders, you know what I mean, and presented them in front of everyone. So that cool. was... Man, for them, they're like, man, we never had this. No one said thank you for serving your community.
Right. Yeah.
No one say that. It's kind of like, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
But no one really cares. So just being able to be around that, for me, it's priceless. That's don't get me wrong, I do like to go to nice places, and we all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that I don't. But lately, when I go to Brazil, I end up going to some of the places that no one wants to go. I was in one of the favelas, one of those high, the hills that they have. I'm walking around and I'm looking up, and they have like tarps like covering everything. By the way, you need permission from the drug dealers to be in there. I'm walking, there's kids playing, big table like this big here, like people packing all this stuff, normal. And then I'm looking up, and then they're like, "Are you curious about the tarps?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, wow, because it's always the cops start using drones to try to locate where everyone is. So they started to put tarps everything over it. So I was like, dude, it's like the cat and mouse type of deal. Like, you consistently doing this and they do this. Wow. So they always that. But so me, like, just even trying to process, why is this, like, wow, this is just so like out of our reality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me to, and walking around trash everywhere, and I'm thinking like kids playing around here and getting sick. And if it wasn't for those community leaders, I don't know what, not just Brazil, but a lot of rough areas, even in US have rough areas that community leaders, man, kick ass.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the world would be without these people, these unicorns that really give their like soul to just serve people. You know what I mean? And my job is, our job is try to help them the best way possible. I'm not even close. I can even put myself close to that status, but we can at least support in some way their journey.
So do you like use these community leaders as kind of like the eyes on the ground, essentially? Because like I wouldn't even have, like you were talking about the meals for the kids. Like that's not even something I would consider.
Right. We take it for granted.
We take it for granted. Yeah. Like you said, like after a tournament, we're gonna go get dinner and have beers and stuff. They go home and
because
maybe they eat.
Because he lives that reality. He goes to competition. So like I live that. I go with the kids there. We go in and we come back. We stay out all day and come back. Yeah. So there's something that is Jiu-Jitsu Tribe. There's something that I do, my personal one. I don't have to give explanation to anyone what I do with my money. But like, and then I do the part of the competition. If I want to make a donation, if I want to do something. And one of the ones that we've done before is for them to have like a competitor weekend, something that, because they have to drive, it's far, but then to be able for them to spend a night in a hotel. Dude. Even if it's like we're going to here to Tucson, but you're going to spend the night there. That's the event. Okay? Right. It's like the event of the year of their lives. Wow. Many of them never left town. So now they get to stay in a hotel, have breakfast in a hotel. For them, this is like unreal. It's an unreal experience. I'm not even talking about going out of the country, but just that to get the kids who are really not the baddest kids, but the kids who are really hard working. They're doing well. They're good kids. Yeah. And organizing a way for them to go. Don't have to just kind of drive early in the morning, stay all day. It depends. I'm talking about like hour and a half, 2, but sometimes a little longer. Yeah. But for them to have that experience, that motivation of, man, I want more of that. I want to see other places. Yeah. So this is an incredible opportunity. It's something for the guys in Mexico too. I don't, again, visa situation or whatever, but like how would it be to possibly get kids to compete here or maybe to,
that'd be awesome.
Even in Mexico, but like other tournaments, again, figure out transportation.
There's a convention center in Rocky Point. I'm just throwing that out there. There is a convention center in Rocky Point.
By the way, I am promoting in Mexico. You're welcome to go if you want to take that. Like, good job. But I am trying to promote a tournament.
I am so down.
Maybe let's start with potential of sponsoring some at the BJJ events.
Yeah, that would be so cool. But so can you guys give us an idea like how people can get involved, like at a base level, just maybe not time but maybe money.
Yeah, we have, for example, Jiu-Jitsu Tribe.org and at Jiu-Jitsu Tribe, but we have people that donate $5 per month. And it's incredible help. Imagine if like 100 people give $5. Hell yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't have to make doesn't have to be a massive commitment. Right. Because sometimes you're like, $5, like, am I really helping? Yeah, you are. You know, $5 with a bunch of people. Yeah. Absolutely.
And those recurring ones are more helpful for us because when we know we have, 15 donors that are doing X dollars per month, then we can kind of set some expectations with these projects that we're supporting, remotely, that because if, we we do a fundraiser and we get a few big donations and it's a one-time thing, then the guy needs his electric bill paid in the social project next month. Like, we can't say whether we can or can't.
Sure.
But, you know, we have the good fortune right now of having not many, but a couple of donors that do a monthly type thing. And then we can say to the projects, as long as, you know, our monthly donors continue to sponsor you, you can expect X per month that we'll send down for
Shout out to Control Physical Therapy.
Yes.
With Greg is one of the supporters that supports monthly.
Nice.
So that means it helps 8 project, you know, and I'm always leave it open because the idea is not just to have, if I can get the instructor, the person responsible to make some money themselves, I want them because again, so many projects that I'm at, someone said like, I had to stop. Then you got a job.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't do both.
Yeah.
You know, so just having someone to give a little bit, in, especially if it's in Brazil, it's 5 to 1, that goes a long way. $5, you know, it goes a long way. 25, you got a few people doing it, it helps. Yeah. So donations is we don't take any gis or anything like that because of those reasons. But just donations, or when I do some of the fundraisers or we're not, but that's about it. And we definitely want to do more for Tucson for higher ground. He was telling me that he was in need of some gis, but again, we wanted to get some new gis.
Yeah,
so I
of
don't
course.
have to get, you know, so it's not that simple, you know, sometimes to get companies to buy the idea, but anyway, we'll do what we can.
Okay. Right on. You got anything else?
No, man, that's awesome.
That was really good.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't end on the low note. I was like, man. But yeah,
was someone getting stabbed?
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus, let's keep going, please.
But if you guys want us to just do a read during our podcast, we can do a read for you guys, just promoting, you know, no cost to you guys, just promoting Jiu-Jitsu Tribe. Sure. Send me a read, and we'll just throw it in there, maybe like halfway through a podcast or early, or you know, depending on what the statistics say, what people actually listen. Yeah. I'd be honored to do that for you guys.
Particularly if we do a project specific, like fundraiser, like for your guys in Mexico or whatever. Yeah. You know, we can promote that. I can throw a specific landing page up on the website.
That'd be great.
Kind of gives details about that project. And,
Cool.
And the website, we have t-shirts and stickers and hats and stuff like that. Kids, you know, they do help as well. At the tournament, I didn't have the last one, and I think the next I'm going to be out of town. But usually you have a booth, Jiu-Jitsu Tribe. Just kind of promote it to just whoever wants more information, wants to know more about it. We try to share, and we'd love to do more stuff in the U.S. because sure, I'm Brazilian, so I identify more. But for a lot of people, it's kind of like, oh, Brazil, okay, yeah, sure.
It's like so far away, that kind of thing.
I want to do more in U.S., but there are not that many programs. That's the truth.
Yeah,
we I wasn't on a seminar. Someone told me about a program. It's called One Community in Kansas City. I was like, dude, I never heard. And then like, give him the guy's number. So we got in contact with the guy, interviewed on my podcast. We made 25 custom-made gis for them. Boom.
Nice.
There we go. You know, like, nice. You know, like, we have, because really, we just don't hear. We really don't hear people doing that work. So, you guys can always send me a message too, or send a Jiu-Jitsu Tribe like, hey, I heard of this project. Sweet. Let's check it out.
Yeah. There was another little pilot project we did briefly, where my sister worked in behavioral health here locally in the Valley. And she approached me one day and she said, hey, have you guys ever thought about doing anything locally? And I'm like, we have, but logistically, you know, we just haven't quite figured it out yet. And she's like, well, I have these programs that we offer, art and whatever. And she's like, man, I think jiu-jitsu would be really good for some of these kids.
Yeah.
So we talked about it, and what I did was I reached out to a bunch of academy owners around the Valley, and I said, if we identify a kid in your area, would you be willing to take them on as a sponsored student for a pilot period of time, 3 to 6 months, provide them a gi, and if it works out, then maybe they convert to a to a paying student. If it doesn't, that's fine. They got some exposure to it. So we did an initial pilot project of, I think, 6 or 7 students down at the Academy in Tempe.
Nice.
Problem there was logistics because they were coming from all over the valley.
Yeah.
It was just unrealistic.
Yeah.
But a lot of them loved it. 1 or 2 of my most prized possessions I have right now are letters from that kids in that program.
Yeah.
But it actually got a little bit of traction where I think we probably placed 15 to 20 different kids in, from MMA Lab to, Isa's Academy, a bunch of different academies. Jose at 12th Street took a few for us. And I know at least a handful of them continued to train as either sponsored or paid students. Yeah. So we're always my sister ended up leaving the state. So the kind of the inflow of those students so that project disbanded a little bit, but if anybody has ideas of stuff like that they would want to do locally or in the state.
This one, it's great because we're kind of like linking them. It doesn't cost Jiu-Jitsu Tribe. It's just like, hey, do you want to donate a spot? Hey, can you guys find a way to take the kid there? Yeah. So it really worked well. The difficulty is because the great thing was because you had Lori to vouch for us in jiu-jitsu, because most people, they don't know about jiu-jitsu, be liability. Are they going to fight? Or is it dangerous? They don't know. Yeah. Right. So sure, if anyone that is listening and have the possibility of implementing jiu-jitsu, and not implementing jiu-jitsu in the location, but it's an extracurricular activity that is presented. Hey, we do offer jiu-jitsu too. Yeah. And because we have an academy that wants to donate the time and the gi, sure.
Because we have the nonprofit aspect, but we also have the connections through AZBJJL to have at least decent relationships with most coaches in the valley.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So anybody wants to ever brainstorm stuff like that, we're always open to linking up.
Sounds great, man.
Sure.
All right, everybody. Hey, if you love the podcast or if you hate the podcast, please like and subscribe. Mostly. Please follow us. What's that?
Mostly if they hate
it. We catch a lot of hate. But thank you guys for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll have to do this again because just because.
Yep. Absolutely.
And you're going to get a microphone next time. You got to get a microphone next time. But anything else you guys want to put out there?
No, that's it, man. That's what I can think of.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
My cameras cooperated the entire time. Hey, everybody, if you want to support the podcast, please support us by buying Salt Electrolytes. They are the best electrolyte supplement on the market, and use code Foxcast15 at checkout.
That sounds
Foxcast15 at checkout.
Also, if you want to support the podcast,
don't say it. Don't say it. You're going to say something really stupid. Dude, I just did an awesome promo.
Bias whiskey.
Bias whiskey. Ooh, yes. Dude, Buffalo Trace is cheap.
Yeah, it's like $24.
$24.